Welcome to Numbering the Days channel. This is part 3, the final installment in our mini-series, where Joshua is summarizing the main differences he has found comparing the King James Masoretic text to the Cochin Revelation manuscript from India. There are some key facts in this video relating to end times prophecy that you do not want to miss. Part 3 covers chapters 16 to 22. We both felt it important to spend the time on this review and publish what he found. In week 35, this started because he brought out a few differences there that really were a blessing filled with hope, seeing what we believe could be the original version of Revelation. We will begin with just a 2-minute introduction to the Cochin manuscript for those of you who are not familiar with what this is, and then Joshua will share with you his findings. Let's find out the final installment of Light and Hope we've been missing out on. If you are not familiar with what the Cochin Hebrew manuscripts are, I will leave you a link in the description so you could read the full history. But to summarize very briefly, both Apostle Thomas and Apostle Andrew went to Cochin, India, and established an assembly there that exists to this day. Eusebius, in early church literature documents that Bartholomew was taking a copy of the Hebrew Gospel to Cochin in the 1st century. In the 2nd century, a Greek theologian returns to Egypt from Cochin with a copy of the Hebrew Gospel. The Messianic community of Cochin preserved both the Greek and the Hebrew New Testament. History has documented that the Hebrew New Testament was taken to India and then copies were brought back twice, so you can understand why my husband and I believe it is highly likely a copy of the original Hebrew. You can read more details in the link that I have provided in the description. Joshua loves to study prophecy and is bringing us some needed rays of sunshine today and hope.
Hello there, and thanks for stopping by. Today is the final installment, my mini-series, part 3. I am going over the verses of Revelations, chapters 16 through 22, and noting for you everything that is noticeably different in the Cochin Scroll of Mysteries. Yeah, the last one was off. I guess I'm going to throw my wife under the bus here. She misdid the chapter numbers. Part 2 goes through chapter 14. There is no difference in 15. There was nothing notable difference between the KJV and the Cochin. So we're going to start here with chapter 16. Let's read and rejoice. There's good news here. Chapter 16, KJV, verse 2. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. The Cochin. So the first one poured out his bowl upon the ground, and a skin disease broke out on anyone who had the sign of the beast and was praying to its idol. This was translated as sign to depict the difference between it and the Tav, Mark mentioned in Revelation 3:7. The first publication found with this word is in the Mishnah, Barakot, published around 200 AD, and was translated as omen. That is from Janus F. Baca. Noisome, obnoxious, smelly, harmful, possibly dangerous. Those taking the mark won't all quit walking around. The word for worship also means obey. There may be a connector sin for tolerating and being with them. In the Greek, this worship, obey his image, again makes the argument that they will be a terror in some way. In the Cochin, those that took the omen of the snake bite are automatically downloading, uploading, praying to its idol. Verse 9. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of Elohim, which had power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. The Cochin says, So it became very hot for mankind, and Yahweh cursed them with plagues, but they did not repent nor give him honor. This may be why they want to find ways to block the sun. Verse 10, KJV, and the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. Then the fifth, in the Cochin, then the fifth poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and concealed it, so they gnawed their tongues in the face of despair. Which beast? 10 horns or 2? The word for darkness and concealed also mean confused. Confused it, so they gnawed their tongues in the face of despair. Verse 11, and blasphemed the Elohim of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. This verse is not in the Cochin. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Cochin says, then the sixth poured out his bowl on the Euphrates river, so the river dried up and became a ruin for the kings of the east. Who is not aware the Euphrates is all but gone? The Cochin makes it a ruin for those downstream, possibly nothing to do with the crossing. Verse 21, and there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blasphemed Elohim because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. Cochin says, and great hail fell upon man from the heavens, and they cursed Yahweh because of the plague of the hail. So this may be actual hail. We're at the point where Yahusha comes down and stands on the Mount of Olives. Read Zechariah 14. Chapter 17, verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. The Cochin says, then he brought me into the wilderness, and I saw the woman sitting on the beast, whose appearance was like the appearance of lilies, and was full of slanderous names, having 7 heads and 10 horns. The wilderness in Scripture is all land outside the Promised Land. Rome is in the wilderness. Lilies, the white Madonna lily, is the national flower of Italy. The symbol of Florence is a red or scarlet lily. Verse 4, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. Now the Cochin says, and the woman, he was clothed in red garments, with the appearance of lilies, and on her was a great exceeding gold, with precious stones and pearls. A golden cup full of impurities was in her hand. Yes, the Cochin is actually written this way. And the woman, he. Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. The Cochin says, and written on her forehead was the name of the mystery of the great city, Babel, the mother of harlots and the defiled of the earth. Centralized around the Catholic Church with its blending of religions, but come from the time of Babel. Verse 8. The beast that thou saw was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. The Cochin says, the beast that you saw was, and was not, and it will come once more from the deep, and will go to Sheol. The people of the earth will be amazed at it when they see the beast that was, and is not, even though it is. Revelation 20, 1 through 3. The Greek. Those who took the mark shall wonder when they see something that is, yet is not. Others will not see it. Will they be seeing the demonic realm? Will this be the fine Pokemon tech used on the mark? Remember the people that would spin and strike at the air just before death? The Cochin does not separate out those that took the mark as the ones seeing the beast. Maybe an AI projection. Verse 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth, and is of the seven, and goeth into perdition. Cochin. And the beast that is not is the eighth, for he was one of the seven, but went to Sheol. Went to Sheol, as in dead. We are not looking for some beast that is going to die in the future, because he is already dead. So the eighth king is one of the previous kings. Is he merely a digital ruler of the marked, an AI Satan? The theory of it being Nimrod begins to have merit. How, if 5 were fallen, past, how did 2 hold on through 2,000 years? Is there a false spiritual king for each 1,000 years, the first being before the flood? Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. And the 10 horns, this is the Cochin, and the 10 horns that you saw are 10 kings, who have not yet received their kingdoms, but they will rule as kings with the beast for a short time. This is the 10 toes of Daniel 2, and the 10 crowns of Revelation 13:1. They receive power as kings, do not have it ahead of this time. Chapter 18. Verse 11, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. Cochin says the merchants will weep and hiss because no one can buy merchandise any longer. The Cochin really changes the thought process to no one anywhere can buy merchandise again. It is as if something has broken down. Digital money. Verse 14. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from you, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from you, and you shall find them no more at all. Now the Cochin is interesting. And the fruit that was satisfaction for your spirit will leave you, and all the calculations will not be found again. Calculations. Digital? It was the taking the sign of the omen that satisfied her before. There's going to be some sort of breakdown. Verse 16. And saying, Alas, alas, that great city was clothed in fine linen, and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. Cochin says, Then they will say, Woe and alas, the great city of Babel was clothed in splendor of silk, gold, and precious stones. The colors of the Vatican, and yes, the temple. When Jerusalem fell, Rome was in the middle of a civil war. There is prophecy, Isaiah 23, of the Babylonian-backed Samaria, Tyre, to Sor, which took over the temple in 165 BC, moving to Rome. Ezekiel 26 and 27 prophesy the destruction of Tyre. Compare these 3 to Revelation 18. The false worship, paganism power went from Babylon to Tyre to Rome. Also read these in the Targum and Septuagint to get full meaning, as the KJV hides some things. Verse 23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in you. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Cochin says, Nor will a light shine in any den, because the merchants were the rulers on the ground, for by witchcraft they incited all the people. Incited, to encourage someone to do or feel something unpleasant or violent. Chapter 19, verse 8. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And he gave her pure, becoming, and beautiful silk to wear. Enoch and others talk about the brightness being your covering. Verse 9. And he said unto me, Write, Blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said unto me, These are the true sayings of Elohim. Cochin says, Then he said to me, Holy are those called to eat the evening meal with the Lamb. For he said to me, These are the words of Yahweh in truth. Evening meal. Verse 10, And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahusha. Worship Elohim, for the testimony of Yahusha is the spirit of prophecy. The Cochin. Then I fell at his feet to pray to him, and he said to me, See, don't do this. I am of your friends and of your brothers who have the testimonies of Yahusha. Make your prayer to Yahweh. Oh, the teachings that have been done on the spirit of prophecy. And yet it is not even in the Cochin. You just need to believe in the testimony of Yahusha. Verse 14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Cochin says, And all the armies of the heavens follow him on white horses, wearing clothing of white silk. Verse 15. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Elohim. Cochin says, Coming from his mouth is a double-edged sword, to strike the people with it. He drives them with a rod of iron, and in the fierceness of the anger of Yahweh, rebuking honestly for the suffering of the land. Quite the difference. Verse 16. And he has on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Cochin says, And the name written on his clothes is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So not specifically on his thigh, across the back would look good. Chapter 20. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahusha, and for the word of Elohim, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. Now the Cochin says, Then I saw thrones, and those sitting upon them. He authorized them to judge those believing and testifying of Yahusha. These are the ones who did not take the sign, the omen of the beast, upon their foreheads, nor did they pray to him, nor to his idol. These are the ones who live and rule with Yahusha for 1,000 years. We know the 12 apostles will be judging. So the 12 apostles will be judging the raised saints, judgments for rewards. Nice that the Cochin doesn't make beheading a necessity. Verse 9. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city, and fire came down from Elohim out of heaven, and devoured them. The Cochin says, and they trampled the wide ground surrounding the soldiers of the holy ones, and the beloved city. But fire from the heavens fell and burned them. Soldiers of the holy ones. Enoch speaks of a weapon the saints will have, ruling with an iron rod. It appears as if there is not much prophecy here to cover what will happen during the millennia, but according to the book of Joel 2:28, we will have more prophets and prophecies at the beginning of the millennia. Chapter 21. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Elohim out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Cochin says, for I, John, saw the new holy city Jerusalem descend from the heavens to the earth. It was adorned as a woman silent before her husband. Oh my, what to say? Verse 27. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defiles, neither whatsoever worketh abomination, or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. Cochin says, and no strange thing will come near it, only those whose name is written in the scroll of life. Only the righteous can enter New Jerusalem. See how in Isaiah 60, verse 8. Chapter 22, verse 1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Elohim and of the Lamb. Then a river was shown to me, full of living waters, pure like amethyst, coming from the throne of Yahweh and the Lamb. Amethyst can be clear, pale blue. Verse 2. In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bore 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. The Cochin says, and in the middle of the open places, and from the border of the river, and from this side and the other side, every tree is food, and upon the tree of life, and its 12 species of fruit on it is to be for food, and its leaves will be medicine. Trivia nugget, it is actually called the tree of lives in the Paleo. So the tree of lives bears 12 types of fruit. The Cochin makes it to be one tree of lives, which would then match Enoch. I can kind of read that as there's one tree of life and all kinds of trees for food. Anyway, verse 11. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. Okay, in the Cochin it's a little more clear. Those who are evil will be evil for all time. Yes, those who are impure will also be the same way. However, those who are faithful will continue to be so for all time. And whoever is holy is also like this, truly like this. The Cochin clears up the meaning of this verse. Verse 16. I, Yahusha, have sent my angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. Cochin says, I, Yeshua, I sent messengers to show the congregation I am the root of the tribes of David. And the confusion of the bright morning star disappears. I hope you have enjoyed this mini-series on the differences I found in reviewing the Cochin manuscript, and it helps to bring you hope in these times. Shalom. That's it for this week, folks. Please like and subscribe for more. Shalom.
He is a